Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're well. Today I want to talk about fly tying silks, or silks for fly tying, whichever way you like to look at it. Now about 80% of the world's silk is produced in China, where the port city of Hangzhou in eastern China has been on the silk route for about 4,000 years, although curiously the capital of silk is considered to be Lyon in France. The quality of available silk can vary, but the very best quality is known as mulberry silk, as the silk is garnered from the cocoons of silkworms that thrive amongst the foliage and branches of the mulberry tree. Mulberry silk is recognized to be finer, longer and more uniform in its fibers, but the strength and degummed silk fibers is comparable to nylon and Kevlar. In fact, its breaking strength is actually higher than both. So why use silk in fly tying? Well, apart from its strength and durability, the fibers are really fine, which enables the fly tyer to use small quantities to tie fine bodies on their flies, and it can also create a superb dubbing. A whole myriad of colours and shades are available, as the majority of produced silk is used for creating fabrics and in handicrafts such as embroidery. Silk has been used in fly tying for hundreds of years and remains very popular with fly tyers, especially here in Spain. Companies like Gutermann, La Paletta, Pearsall and Auvert Soir, to name but a few, all offer 100% silk in a great range of colours. A subscriber contacted me recently saying that he was having difficulty in finding and obtaining some Gutermann silk colours that I'd recommended. Looking for an alternative, and after some investigation, I discovered a Chinese craft company via Amazon called Suzhou, which offer a range of 100% mulberry silks at very reasonable prices, and the wooden spools hold between 20 and 22 meters of 2-strand silk. The result of our communication was that he ordered a selection of Suzhou silks, albeit not from Amazon. In particular, I like the selection of 8 olive shades, ranging from a light straw olive through to an intensely dark olive, numbered 99.1 to 99.8. Also their selection of 8 brown shades from a light beige through to a dark chocolate brown, numbered 12.1 to 12.8. You can visually select an appropriate colour, remembering that silk darkens when it's wet. So I'm going to tie a small olive ephemera using Suzhou mulberry silk number 99.7. So in the vise I have a size 18 dry fly hook, and I'm tying with 10/0 beige thread. So I'm just going to start this a little bit behind the eye, like so, and wind on the thread and trim up the excess. Right, now for the tail I'm going to use some coq de lion fibres. Not many, only need a few on this size hook, 3 or 4 fibres, 5 fibres, something of that nature. And I'm going to tie them in. Pull that back just a little and wind down the hook shank to the rear of the fly, and I'm just going to put a wrap underneath to lift and separate those fibres, tie them down with a wrap and trim up the excess. Right, now I will be using a rib. I'm going to be using this yellow 10/0 for the rib. I'm just going to tie that in. And trim that up. Tie it down. And back down to the rear of the fly. Put that in the spring. Right, now for the silk, 99.7 from Sujar. It is 2-strand and I'm only going to use 1. So I'm going to cut a piece off and separate the strands, which is generally not too difficult. There we go. I'm just going to pull that off. And I'm going to just wind up my bobbin and tie in the silk. Up to the thorax area and trim up the excess. And wind on the silk. Now be careful when you're winding on silk, as always. Don't catch it on the hook point, try not to catch it on the vise, because the fibres will split and you don't want that. Just going to thicken it up a little bit towards the thorax area. I'm going to tie off the silk. And trim it up. Now I'm not going to throw this away because I'm going to use this to make some dubbing, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And just some open spirals or open wraps of the rib, like so, and tie off the rib thread and trim it up. Just tidy up here. For the wing I'm going to use some CDC fibres, and I'm just going to marry up some small feathers here. Well, I've married up 3 small feathers. I'm just going to get rid of some of this fluff at the base. And I'm going to pull back the points, or pull back the fibres from the point, should I say. And I'm going to trim out the points and pull back the fibres. Which leaves me with something like that. Right, I'm now going to tie in those fibres of CDC. Just pull that through. Tie it down, unwrap underneath, and trim up the CDC. Let's tidy up here. And I'm just going to put a wrap behind. Like so. I was talking about making the dubbing out of the silk. Now all you have to do is just cut this into small pieces, about 1 centimetre, ½ an inch, something of that nature. And take the fibres and just separate them like so. And then I'm going to take some hairs here and mix the two. Now this gives a certain amount of continuity, but it also just makes it a little bit darker to show the differentiation between the body and the thorax. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this dubbing on. don't need it all. I'm going to lift up the wing, put one wrap behind and another wrap in front. Then I'm going to tie off with a half hitch tool. Just trim up that bit of extra thread there. And I'm going to just put a little bit of glue onto the knot. Don't need a lot. Make sure the eye is clear. And I'm just going to gently brush out the thorax, just a little. Just trim up some of these longer fibres. And then you have a size 18 ephemera using Sushal silk number 99.7. Now I don't get anything from Sushal, don't worry about that, but I just think that it's worth passing on when you find something that is of reasonable quality and a good price. I think it's worth passing on to my viewers and subscribers. There you go, thanks very much for viewing. I hope you enjoyed the time and the little bit of information about silks, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and do become a subscriber. Bye.